today I want to talk to you about value and really what is value, and really how do you establish value. And I'll tell you that in any of the meaningful relationships or business relationships that I've ever formed, it started with providing some sort of value to them. And the way that can be established is a multiple of ways, but obviously you've got to be able to identify what you can bring to that organization or to that individual that's going to provide them with value. I believe that we are all a product of our environment, right? I believe that where we reside, the people that we hang around, the organizations that we work with are simply a true representation of who we will become or who we are currently. And so there's been a couple of times over the years that I've ran across an individual or heard a message from somebody that I was like, oh, I got to get to know that individual. But obviously I see them at a higher level than where I am, so I've got to reach out to them in order to get their attention. I've realized that by trying to do that without providing any kind of value is a recipe for disaster or failure. Meaning that I'm trying to reach out to them, grab their attention. Now, you got to understand, somebody who's at a higher level than you, think about how busy you are. Now multiply that, right? Multiply that by 10, 50, 100, depending upon the level that they're at. And so you got to understand that their schedules are probably extremely busy, and therefore, what value do they have in spending time with you? And so those are some of the things that I ended up having to realize, that in order for me to get the attention of a larger organization or for an individual, is that I had to bring them an unprecedented amount of value to be able to get or capture their attention. And so I'll share with you, there was a guy I had met, probably 10 years ago. And, he ran a multi-million-dollar organization. He had this indirect sales organization selling communication services pretty much around the globe. I want to say probably 40 years older than myself as well, but a tremendous successful track record nonetheless. And so I seen this guy, I didn't get to meet him one-on-one, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I got to get to know this guy. How am I going to get to know this guy? And so one of the things I started thinking about is, how can I get his attention? Now, in today's society, you should be able to gather as much information on an individual by the internet before you ever meet with them, before you even step in the door. Same thing goes with any business. You should be able to go online, research that business, and know everything that they do before you even have an opportunity to talk to them. And so that's what I did. I went and I researched this guy. I realized the things that he had done, and I thought, wow, he's running a multi-million-dollar organization. How can I, running a small business, right, and as an entrepreneur, really one employee myself, right, how can I bring value to this guy? So I started thinking about, well, he sees value in his business. He sees value in the revenue that comes through the door. So I started looking for opportunities that I could sell this guy's product, right, help him grow his business. I found this opportunity, and I approached and I took the opportunity and I took the necessary steps and I sold it, right? Now, understand, the higher the person, the higher the value, right? The more you have to do. This guy, again, multi-millionaire. I think he was running an annual company of around 300 million. And so therefore, what kind of value would I have to bring to him in order for me to get his attention? So I ended up finding an organization. I sold some of these services that he sells through resold his services, and ended up generating a $60,000 a month contract for 36 months. So roughly 1.8 million, 1.9 million in revenue for this organization. Don't you think that would probably grab his attention? Sure, and that's exactly what it did. Is that he said, oh, you sold this, and we started talking. We got to know each other. Today, that guy is certainly a mentor to mine. We've got businesses together. And so it's been a great thing because we started off on the right foot. I provided value to him versus asking him for something. Another guy that I'd worked with, similar scenario, where he's a world-renowned speaker, a leadership guru, and I wanted to get to know this guy. So I seen that he ended up launching a coaching program. I ended up joining the coaching program, so I spent $4,000, $5,000 to join his coaching program, and still didn't know this guy. He didn't know me, and that's fine, but my intention all along was to get to know him, right? Get to know him on a personal level. And one of the things that we did was we joined this coaching program. We started seeing, as we got into the program, we started seeing all these holes kind of in their process. And I started asking myself, how can I help fill those holes to provide value to his organization? Through that process, we discovered this platform. We wrote this platform, we maintained it, and then we pitched to them and said, look, we want to give you this platform. What do you think that did for his business? It helped take them to a different level. It helped them become more efficient, right? We were able to fill in the gaps and provide value, which ultimately got his attention. And so I'm telling you this because I think so many times that we go out and we want to get somebody's attention, we want to get a business's attention, but yet we don't ever come and provide any kind of value out of the gate. We think that we've got to charge them for what we've got for them. But if you know the old adage, right, sowing and reaping, right, you give something. You can't go make a withdrawal from a bank until you make a deposit, right? So the point is what I'm getting at is that you need to be able to start thinking about providing value to your clients, to your partnerships, to your mentors. Provide value. Do the research. When you go into that meeting for the first time, even if it's just a sales call, if you go into that sales call for the very first time, know what their business is and try to provide value to them in the area that you service. I mean, if you're a technology guy, figure out what they're doing. Go in, ask a bunch of questions that surround kind of your idea on how you can provide them value, and then say, hey, look, did you know about this new technology that's out? It may help create efficiency in your organization. That's a freebie. Oftentimes, what I'll do is, we've been through a lot of different things. There's a lot of different resources that I have. If I'm talking to somebody and they're telling me they're having a problem and I've got a resource for that, I give it to them. Because why? Because it's a friendly gesture, right? I'm sowing into that relationship before I even have the opportunity to withdraw from it. So again, that's value. The opposite side of this is, and the way this can kind of backfire on you, which I've seen it happen, is that you want to help that individual. Right? You want to get to know that individual, but you want to help them. So what do? You go out to them and you say, hey, look, I like everything you're doing. I like what you stand for. I like what you believe in. I want to be just like you, right? We see that oftentimes. And so what do? They go out and they say, what can I do to help you? That's what we say to them. What can I do to help you? But what we've just done is we've just put the burden on them. And why is that? Because now we're asking them, hey, take a little bit of your time that you already don't have, and take a little bit of your time because I know you're not so busy, and think about things that I can do, understand my skill set first, and then tell me how I can help you. So what you've done is you've taken this opportunity to really be able to sow into this individual, and you've now turned it around on them and said, hey, look, take a little bit of time, figure out how I can help you, and then tell me and I'll help you. See, you can't do that because now what you've done is you've just taken a withdrawal from them so that you can try to help them. It doesn't work that way. You've got to do your due diligence first. You've got to do your research first. You've got to find a way. Think outside the box. Be creative. Set yourself apart in order to provide unprecedented value to that individual. If you do that, I guarantee it hands down that you will develop that relationship, you'll land that sale, and you'll build what's known as relational capital, which we'll get into at a later time. But again, I'm just sharing with you, build value, build a presence, help that organization, help that partner, help that mentor, and you can have anything that you want. So until next time, again, remember, build value, research it, win those relationships. It's the name of the game.